Maurice Mercado with SCREENBUMS and GeekCentricity.com's dual coverage of the New York City Comic Con 2011. We're here with Michael Morrissey, the director, writer, creator of this it's a really thrilling movie, Boy Wonder, very psychological thriller, really dark and just edgy. And we got a chance to see it, and we wanted to talk to you about it. But what was your inspiration behind that movie? Behind the movie?
I'm a comic book fan, and I grew up since I'm 10 years old reading comic books, and it's kind of like that's the kind of story that I liked, kind of movie that I wanted to see, and it's just I like those characters kind of that blurred the line, well, really blurred the line between good guy, bad guy. So that's really because of my inspiration of it.
There's a lot of father-sons, a father and son relationship in this movie, and parent relationships. Was that stuff that you drew from yourself, or?
My father and I, we have a great relationship now. When I was younger, it was like he's a very blue-collar kind of guy, and I wanted to be an artist, and there was that really kind of weird divide between the two of us. He didn't beat me, nor was he an alcoholic, but there was a little bit of that. I think you're always trying to make that connection to your dad, and something that went on in the movie. Actually, in the movie, it's kind of reversed. The dad's trying to make the connection with the son. But yeah, a little bit, drawing a little bit from that. But my mom's alive, and my dad's okay.
Now, one thing in Boy Wonder is that it's kind of two stories, really. It's the story of Sean, the young guy, and also the detective,
right,
who kind of coming up in the ranks. What was that storyline as far as the detective? Where was your inspiration as far as that side of the story?
I always wanted to do it where, the characters I enjoyed are characters that are shades of gray. They're not really. It's about, for me, it's about perception. You look at Teresa when you first meet her, and she's this character. Oh, she's the cop. She must be the good guy. But really, she's this self-serving person who became she lost her kid because she wants to grow up as a detective, and she kind of keeps everything from her partner. And at the end, she kind of really throws her career away in a way. But her story is kind of, she needs to start making real decisions that are not just about her anymore. And I try to see how people describe her as the hero in the movie, but she's not that great of a person either. And I think that's how life is. People are shades of gray. There's good and bad in everybody.
And this is a very nitty-gritty New York movie, and you're a Brooklyn boy. Most of the film was shot in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How was the production of this movie as far as being your hometown?
It was great to shoot in New York. You had to sleep in your bed every night, but it was New York is expensive, so it's very trying. But I knew where everything was, though. Like, people would say, oh, we need this. I'm like, oh yeah, it's around the corner. Let's use a Chinese restaurant around the corner. It was very fast and very quick. We did it in 28 days, and it was fun. It was great to shoot in New York. It was great to show people what New York looks like to us. I don't use any big. You don't see the skyline of Manhattan. You don't see the Brooklyn Bridge. It's kind of like just what we see every day as New Yorkers.
And you shot this on the Red Epic.
Red One.
Red One. Now, getting more into the technical side of filmmaking nowadays, switching over to digital. What was your experience shooting on the Red?
Shooting the Red was fantastic. It was great. I didn't go to film school, so I don't know film. So it was, I work in television. I know digital, so it made sense to me. And we got to use great. I wanted the film not to look so sharp as a digital film, so we used really old glass from 1979. These Claremont anamorphic lenses, so it kind of gives it a bit of a creamy look. It was a lot of fun being able to, the next day, look at exactly what you shot and work with it. It was a great experience. I wouldn't go film, I would go digital for the rest of my life.
And how is that process? Because now, filmmaking is switching to a digital medium, and even going from camera to distribution is a digital process. How is that process as far as being able to put this movie out?
It was a big learning experience. This is my first film. I've done television before, but this was, the color correction process was really interesting for me. We took it out as a digital file, and every frame got color corrected, and I was amazed that I didn't know we were going to do that until I realized you have to do that. And I was happy with that experience. But there's a lot of different codecs and compressions. Like for the theaters we're using, it's got to be compressed to a DCP for a digital projection. I didn't even know that existed, and that's expensive. But it was a really enlightening experience for me, and it's not as simple as everybody thinks. You shoot it and it goes right to DVD. It's a lot more to do on the post side after that.
Now, a lot of people nowadays, their theaters, theater prices are going up,
right,
and a lot of films are now being released early, either on cable television, on demand, iTunes. What's your take on the way that the industry is kind of shifting in that?
I think you're going to see a lot more films kind of doing the route we're going, where we're going to try to build our brand for a year, in the festivals and the Comic-Cons, and then we're going to go to Netflix and on demand first, and then you might get a theatrical afterwards after you build a fan base, because people I think the fans want to see a film on a theater screen, but if it doesn't have that, that foundation of fans ahead of time, it's not going to go anywhere. So the traditional go into theaters first 6 months and then you go to DVD, I don't think that's going to exist anymore. I think it's just changing,
What's next for your production company?
We're going to a film called Mother. It's one of my second script that I wrote. And I'm trying to raise the money, and hopefully this does a little something, and people see that I make a decent movie, hopefully. And that's a psychological thriller, a little more horror kind of based. And that's it's the next one,
Last question. You're on a deserted island. You can only bring 3 DVDs to watch. What would they be?
Wow. 3 DVDs to watch. One would be The Professional, big fan. One would be Amadeus. I'm a big fan of that movie. And the other movie, I know what I'm going to say, but everybody's going to hate it, because Dead Poets Society was a movie that I really liked. So.
You heard it. You heard it here, folks. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for your time. Boy Wonder, check it out.